Tom, our next question is from Terrence, and he says, I would like to ask Tom a question regarding lucid dreaming. Lately, I've been having success with lucid dreaming. I am new to it, but am able to become conscious in my dreams and explore the dream reality and interact for a small time with full waking awareness. My question is, once lucid and fully conscious in a dream, am I able to use intent to access the out of body state or other things like the past database, or am I restricted to this dream reality? I'm curious to know if there is an effective avenue to explore consciousness since I'm seeing more progress here compared to meditation, etc. More progress from lucid dreaming. Also, is there a way to bypass the process of having to do this by falling asleep first? I apologize if Tom has already answered this at some point. Thank you so much for what you, Tom, and everyone with MBT do. Terrence.
Yes, well, Terrence, yes, 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 and yes. It's those are all very good questions. Your first question is, once you're in a lucid dream, can you just go access the databases and do things with your intent? And the answer is yes, you can. There are multiple ways to get into the altered states of consciousness where these things are possible. Now, let's kind of enumerate them. One of them is through meditation. And here you basically learn to, it's the right word, to discipline your consciousness so that your intellect is not just running around taking charge and doing everything. You get your intellect to sit down and be quiet. And that's mostly the whole purpose of meditation. They say, well, when you meditate, you're supposed to put your mind in a place where there are no thoughts. Well, what that thoughtless state is that your intellect has finally given up trying to control what's going on in your mind. And that takes time. That takes sometimes decades to get really good at mental discipline, where you can shut that off right now because you want to, bring it back right now because you want to, and keep it quiet for an hour just because you want to. That may take a decade to have that kind of precision. Now, if you haven't put a decade in, you can shut that intellect down for, 10 seconds. And then here comes a thought, running through your mind, and you go, I'm not supposed to have any thoughts. And you put it out of your mind and you go back to it. And you keep working on it. But to get that you can, at any time you want, shut it off, anytime you want, bring it back, and that you can keep it shut off for as long as you want to. That's the discipline that meditation helps you build. And like all discipline, it's by doing it over and over and over and over again. That's how you do discipline. So if you want to discipline your muscles to throwing a javelin, you got to throw it and throw it and throw it and keep doing it and doing it again. And eventually those muscles will have the discipline to know exactly what to do when you're throwing that javelin. So they call that muscle memory. Well, yes, muscle memory, but another way to look at that is your muscles have been disciplined to a particular ability to do things, routines that they can do. So that is the way of meditation. And when you have that discipline, then you can start to develop your intuitive side. You see, the consciousness has two different paths by which it can process information. It has an intellectual side and an intuitive side. We in our culture develop the intellectual side, and we don't do anything at all with the intuitive side. Matter of fact, most of us had a more developed intuitive side when we were 3 years old than we do now as adults. What little bit we had just naturally without trying to develop it at all, we even lost that. To where now what's left is an intellectual side that guesses and has gut hunches. In my gut, I feel like this will happen. Well, that's about a 50-50 chance whether that'll turn out true or not true. unless you actually do involve some of your intuitive side into the process. All right, so that's kind of the standard way, for an out-of-body experience, which is what really is the overall term that you're talking about here. That's to be able to go get around within consciousness, explore the databases, go places, do things, and learn from that experience. They call that out of body. Very poor choice of name, but that's what they called it, so that's what we'll call it. You get that through mental discipline. And eventually, that discipline just requires you to shift data streams. All reality is virtual. Any reality in which you can experience something is a virtual reality. The experience takes context. You can't have an experience if there's no context. It takes rules. You can't have an experience if there aren't any rules. And my favorite way of demonstrating that is I say, okay, Donna, let's play a game. You go first. Well, what's Donna going to do? She doesn't know what to do because I haven't given her any rules. How can she go first? Do what? She doesn't even know the name of the game. It's just that she should go first. But so there is no game. There can't be a game without rules. Now, once I give Donna rules, then she could go first because she knows what the point of the game is, how to win, how to lose, and what the various moves are. If you have rules, then you have strategy, you have ways of approaching it, you have reasons for doing it the way you do it. All of those are created by rules. The game's created by rules. Well, that's the same in reality. If you can experience, oh, I did this, then I did that, then I felt this and that, you can only have that within a context of rules. Okay? So every reality in which you can experience is a virtual reality. Now, virtual realities come to you as data streams, and you interpret the data stream. That's how you get in a different reality. You attach to a different data stream. You let this data stream go, which defines what we call the physical universe, and you start getting a data stream that defines some other reality, right? So that's how you go out of body. Well, you're not really going out of body. You're just letting go of one data stream, connecting to another data stream. But to do that intentionally takes a disciplined mind. Now, the second way to do that is what he's doing, which is a lucid dream. Now you don't maintain a constant awareness. See, with the out of body, you just switch one data stream to another. You don't lose consciousness. Your consciousness remains all the time. You've just switched data streams. Out with the lucid dream, you fall asleep. You lose consciousness. But in a dream, you regain your consciousness and say, oh, here I am in a dream. Look, I'm awake now in this dream. All right. Now, when you're awake in that dream, it's just the same as having gone out of the body. You now are in that intuitive space, not the intellectual space. You've let the intellectual space go. When you're in that dream, you let your intellectual space go. In a dream, you make choices right out of your being level. You are who you are. You are, you can say in a dream that the choices you make represent you as you are. They're authentic you. So yes, all those choices you make in a dream that are horrible choices, that's you. Yes, you've got that in you to make those choices. All those choices you make that are wonderful choices, that's you too. In this reality, our intellect gets involved in a thing which is called our image. That's not who we really are. That's who we'd like to be. It's who we think we are. It's who we pretend to be. So this intellect works through a kind of an imaginary space, that's not authentic when you are just operating in this particular virtual reality. When you dream, you don't have that intellect along to just make sure you maintain your image, and you don't maintain an image. You are just the real bona fide you. you do the things that you would do when you're dreaming. That means your intellect is already sat down and is being quiet. Well, that's the first part of our thing here with meditation, is to get the intellect to sit down and be quiet. Well, when you dream, you already got your intellect to sit down and be quiet. Now, if you can wake up in that dream and not wake your intellect up, because that would be fully awake, just enough that you can say, oh, I'm aware I'm dreaming. Okay, let me continue. That puts you in the same space as the person who has meditated for 2 decades and can just shut that intellect off. See, you've found another route to get the intellect to sit down and be quiet. It's called a lucid dream. You don't wake up fully, you wake up just enough to take control of the action. And the control is from your being level. So that works and puts you in that same space. Now, the third way, that's probably easier than both of those two, and that is through your imagination. And this is the way that Tom's Park works. Okay, you start with an imagination. You can imagine anything you want to imagine. And you will eventually find a little thing to imagine that works best for you, and you will use that. But you can make up anything you want. It's your imagination. So you imagine, and in your imagination, you imagine it in all 5 senses. You see it, you hear it, you smell it, you taste it, you feel it. You get completely immersed in whatever it is you're imagining. And eventually, the story that you're imagining just takes on a life of its own. In other words, the story just begins to unfold without you making it unfold in a particular way. It just does that. So it's a story about you, an adventure with these people, and you start making it all up, but then these people start acting and do whatever it is they do, and you interact with them, and pretty soon the story is just on its own. It's no longer you putting words in everybody's mouth. It's just you interacting with all these other people. So that is another way to get there. Start with your imagination. And this will take some practice too. None of these ways are trivial. It'll take some practice. But most people already have the experience of daydreaming and kind of getting lost in the daydream, to where the daydream is just doing whatever happens in the daydream. And that's not that hard to do for most people. So this is like that. So when you get lost in that daydream, now you are in that situation where your intellect is no longer making it up. Okay, so you've got your intellect to sit down and be quiet, and you are in the process of some story. Well, at any time, you can just leave that story. Use your intent and do anything you want to do. You can make your story up to lead you to what it is you want to do. You see, your daydream doesn't have to be about, meeting the president and getting a medal. Your daydream can be about what it is you want to do in that other reality system. So one will lead you right into where you want to go. So those are 3 avenues. The simplest is probably imagination. But the reason that most people don't start there is because they think, oh, it's just imagination. This isn't real. My imagination is some fake reality. It's a reality I make up. It's not a real reality. Okay, well, that's wrong on several points. One, you're a piece of consciousness, and you can create virtual realities just like the LCS can. You're a piece of consciousness. You can create a data stream. Okay, so you have that ability to create a data stream. Now, the point is, when you let it go to where you're no longer making it up, that means you're no longer creating it. It's not your daydream anymore. You've got a data stream, and the system has given you a data stream that plays to that virtual reality. So it picks up while you're in the virtual reality. It picks up. So at first, it's 100% you. And then it's 90% you and 10% the larger consciousness system. And then it's 50% you and 50% the larger consciousness system, you know? And then it's only 20% you and 80% the larger consciousness system. And then eventually it's just the larger consciousness system. And now the daydream is just going on its own. You're no longer in charge, you see? And there's no threshold to get through, which makes it easier. When you go out of body, there's this threshold of, well, now I'm here with this data stream and now I'm there with that one. You know, suddenly there's a shift from this to that, here to there. When you're lucid dreaming, you're in a dream and then, oh, you're not just dreaming, you're lucid in your dream. Oh, it's a threshold. You go from not lucid to lucid. That threshold makes it difficult for people. It's hard because their intellect gets wrapped around that threshold. Their intellect wants to defeat the threshold. The intellect wants to find ways to work around it. So the intellect does something and says, well, are we there? Did we get past that threshold? You know, am I out of body now? Let's see. Is that my out of body hand? Oh, no, that's my real hand. Darn, I didn't make it. It's the intellect automatically jumps in because this threshold is the kind of thing your intellect does. You know, it takes you places and does things. And it's very difficult to keep your intellect out of the act of jumping from one space to another.
Now, Terrence
So,
is lucky. He's lucky to have that ability to do lucid dreaming, and he
mhm,
finds it easier than just
yes,
meditating. Now,
yes.
you've created a virtual reality where you get in and use your imagination. It's very complex, very rich, very colorful, very engaging. Where would you place this as a category of what you've been speaking of? Where would you place Thomas Park?
Well, Tom's Park is the third way that I talked about. It's the imaginative way, and it's easier than the other two. It's easier than lucid dreaming. It's easier than out of body, because the hardest is probably just the out of body, because then you have to tame the intellect. With the lucid dreaming, you don't have to tame the intellect. You trick the intellect into shutting down by going to sleep first and let it shut down. And then you just wake up and say, aha, now that you're out of the way, intellect, I'm going to go on and have an adventure. So you use the sleep to get rid of the intellect for you. But with the and both of those have thresholds. But with the imagination, you just start off on a story. Now, most people who are professionals, okay, they've done this so often, they're good at it. They can transfer from this data stream to another data stream in a split second. They just drop one, do the other. Most of them use the imagination, because let's say they're going to talk to to some client. They have a client who wants them to talk to their dead Uncle Fred, and you're the medium. So what you do is you just start with imagining Uncle Fred. Oh, hi, Uncle Fred. And he starts talking to you. And in less than a tenth of a second, you're there talking to him. But you started with your imagination. You just start with knowing that Uncle Fred is there and willing to talk to you. And he is. You see, so that's typically the people who do it professionally have done it so long that they're good at it and they do it quickly, and they don't go into a meditation state first, and they don't fall asleep first so they can become lucid. They just start with their imagination, and within a tenth of a second, they already get to that point where they let it go on its own. They don't control it. They control just the first tenth of a second to get it started, and then the system kicks in and they're there. So that's how it's done. So yes, that's probably the easiest way is to use your imagination. But people have this sense of the imagination being false, being a trash reality, something that you make up. It doesn't count. It has to come, somebody else has to make it up. The larger conscious system makes it up. Wow, now that's that's real. But if you make it up, that's fake. Well, that's a real prejudicial way of looking at it. It's not like that at all. You can create virtual realities of your own. Children create virtual friends. They also have virtual realities and places they go sometimes and other people they meet. They do that all the time. And to dismiss that as being nothing more than them just making up stuff, no, they are really meeting other people, engaging new friends. It's an experience they're having, and they're having that experience in a virtual reality. The virtual reality is being run by the larger consciousness system, but they start it with their imagination. Okay, now, if the larger consciousness system is sending you a data stream showing you whatever it is, your remote viewing or whatever else, to say that because you started with your imagination that that's somehow fake or not real, well, that's just a bias that we have. We have this strong bias about the imagination being not important. It's a trash thing. And it's not the case. It's a launch pad, is what it is. It's not a trash reality. It's a launch pad from which you can go to realities that are just as real because they're virtual realities. All virtual realities are equally real. Your dream reality is as equal real as this reality. This thing we call our physical universe is no more or less real than any of these realities that you can go to. It's just a data stream. All realities that you can have experience in are data streams that you're interpreting the data. They're all like that. So your dream isn't less true than this physical universe. It's just different. And your one when you're lucid dream is just different. And the one that you start with your imagination is just different. But they're just as valuable, just as real. And in all three of those, you can evolve and de-evolve the quality of your consciousness. The choices you make in dreams help you evolve and de-evolve. Matter of fact, almost all of your fear tests are done in the dream world because in the dream world, we get the real answer from the real you. If they give you a fear test in our physical reality, that virtual reality, well, your image will be the one to answer. Oh, of course I'm kind and nice to everybody. That's just the way I am because that's how you want to be. But then in the dream reality, we find out whether that's true or not. So fear tests take place out of body. They take place in the dream reality. They take place in all these alternate reality frames because there you're you. And you're not gaming the system with an intellect that would rather be somebody else other than what it is. So it has this alter ego that we call our image. You don't have that anywhere except in this virtual reality where you are. So, Guy, yes, you're right. All those things you said are true. You can use your intent to move forward from your lucid dream. You can use imagination to get there even more quickly with less effort. But again, you have to practice. And if your intellect wants to try to find that transition point, well, guess what? There is no transition point. So your intellect is just left out of the situation altogether. But you have to let it go and give it the credibility. You don't keep questioning it. Don't say, well, gee, am I making this up or is this coming from outside of me? If you keep asking those questions, that's your intellect asking those questions. You just experience. And if the experience was silly and useless, well, then some experiences are silly and useless, no matter what reality you're in. It's just life. Sometimes your experiences are that way. Just let it be that way. But judge the significance of it, not by, is it real? They all can be real. Judge it by how useful is it? And they can all have things that are useful and all have things that are frivolous in them. So judge it by how useful it is.
Thank you, Tom. It's great advice.
I and MBT Events hope you liked this video. We will continue to post videos for free on my YouTube channel, but please understand, these videos are expensive to produce. They represent many thousands of hours of production and editing, as well as all the necessary audiovisual equipment, computers, and software. If you find something of significant value in our videos, please consider supporting their production through our Patreon account or through a one-time donation. It would be very much appreciated. The links are in the description below. Thank you.